Back in 2014, King Von almost went down for a murder after his homie Big Mike flipped on him. Big Mike decided not to testify at the last second and got hit with a 28-year sentence. But now he's coming home, and today we're breaking down the shocking new details in the case. A lot of people have heard about King Von's murder case over the death of Malcolm Stuckey back in 2014, but nobody knew how crazy the story really was. For a long time, people thought Von brought Mike to a party to slide on some Opps, and Stuckey just ended up getting caught in the crossfire, but apparently that's not how it really went down. This is the real story according to court documents and witness statements. On May 29, 2014, a dude named Marquise Carpenter went to his homie CJ's house for his birthday party. He got there around 10 in the morning and saw his best friend Timothy Robinson was already at the spot with some other people. They spent a few hours just chilling outside, drinking, smoking, and having a good time. But that all changed when King Von rolled up with a girl named Jasmine Mitchell. Von and CJ was homies, but there was static with Carpenter and Robinson from the jump. Carpenter testified that when Von and Jasmine rolled up, Jasmine walked up on the front porch and started flirting with Robinson while Von chopped it up with CJ. Carpenter was like 5 feet away from Von, and he said Von kept looking at him and then went back to the whip and put something in his waistband under his shirt. Von and Jasmine left a little while later, and that's when Malcolm Stuckey showed up. Stuckey and Carpenter were close, and they was meeting up because Carpenter was supposed to be selling his car for him. Carpenter and Stuckey was in the front yard talking for like 20 minutes. Then Robinson saw Von and Big Mike walking up and told Carpenter, "Black boy, there go them niggas." That's when Robinson ran off the porch and someone started letting off shots. Carpenter felt a round go in his leg and ran around the side of the house, but King Von was standing right in front of him and shot him in the face. Carpenter hit the ground, and that's when Von chased Robinson and Stuckey down. A witness said they saw a shooter chasing 2 dudes down. Then he turned and shot a different guy in the head. For a long time, everyone thought Malcolm Stuckey was just an innocent bystander who got caught up in the situation. But now it looks like King Von murdered him on purpose. It's not clear why he had issues with him, but the witnesses say Von pointed right at him and pulled the trigger. Here's how it went down according to Big Mike's testimony. Von left CJ's spot and pulled up to O Block because he needed backup. So Mike hopped in the whip with Jasmine and Von and went back to the party. They parked down a side street and cut through a field. And when they came back around the side of the house, Robinson spotted them and took off running. Von yelled, "What you running for?" and chased him around to the front of the house. And that's when he started letting off shots. Big Mike saw Stuckey falling to the ground while Von started chasing Carpenter. Robinson was still running, so Mike went after him and dumped his whole clip. He told detectives he could tell that Robinson got hit because he was limping. After he was out of bullets, Mike ran back to the whip and waited for Von. He could hear more shots going off, and when Von came around the back of the house, he stopped at a dude lying on the ground and shot him 2 more times. Lemdenda Jones is CJ's mom, and she testified that Von and CJ had been friends since they was kids. According to her, Von walked inside the house that day, and she told him she was happy to see him and said, "I don't want no mess, be safe." She was cooking food for the party when she heard shots going off and hit the floor, and when she walked outside, she saw Stuckey dead in the front yard and Carpenter crawling across the street, bleeding everywhere. Von, Big Mike, and Jasmine left the scene, and Mike dumped his gun in the lake later that day. But a couple months later, the cops arrested him, and he started talking. Before his trial started, Big Mike's legal team tried to get his arrest interview suppressed because he was allegedly pressured into giving a statement. The judge denied the motion though, so the jury got to see what went down at the station, and this is how it all played out. On July 20th, the police brought him into a tiny room with no windows and 1 bench attached to the wall. A couple detectives came in later to read him his rights, and Big Mike agreed to talk to him. Big Mike said he ain't know anything about the shooting, so the cops left and Big Mike slept on the floor on a little mat. The next day they came back and a detective named Murray told Mike that Von was getting booked because people at the party identified him. Mike asked him, "You're saying that he knows the people he was in the party with?" And when Murray said yeah, Mike told him, "I didn't know all that." A few hours later, Murray and another detective named Holloran came to the room and Holloran told him, "You are going to jail, make no mistake." Holloran told Big Mike that if it went to trial, Von would save himself, so Mike should speak up first and tell him what happened. Mike was already on parole when the shooting went down, and Holloran told him, "Make no mistake about it, you are under arrest for murder. We're going to violate your fucking parole. We're going to stick it up your ass." The detectives left again to let Mike think about the situation, and an hour later they came back in and Holloran told him, "You're fucked." They kept trying to get Mike to flip on Von before Von could tell on him, and Holloran said, "You better start playing ball with us or you're kissing your fucking ass goodbye for a very long fucking time." Mike told him that even if it was Von's plan to shoot up the party, that he was still going to jail. But the detectives told him they would let the prosecutors know if Mike helped him out. Mike asked for some time to think and a cigarette, so the cops gave him a smoke and left him alone for a while. less than an hour later, Holleran and Murray came back into the room and told Mike it was up to him to straighten out the facts about what went down. Mike asked him if he told him everything, if they would make a recommendation to the judge, even though he knew at the end of the day, either way it go, I'm gonna have to do some time. The detective said they couldn't make any promises, but that they would make sure the judge knew about his cooperation. Mike even offered him to give him info on a different murder, and the three of them laughed about how they wasn't on the show Let's Make a Deal. Mike ended up telling them everything and was supposed to testify at trial, but then he changed his mind and refused to work with the prosecutors. Vaughn ended up getting acquitted and skated on the murder of Stuckey, and Big Mike went down for aggravated battery with a firearm and was sentenced to 28 years. What's really crazy about the situation is that if Mike never flipped, he probably would have never been convicted and could have walked free at the same time as Vaughn. They were only able to hit him with the aggravated battery with the firearm charge because he described how he dumped his clip at Robinson and saw him limping. And without that info, Big Mike would have walked free. The reason he got out early though is because his legal team filed an appeal over the shooting. They argued that the cops couldn't actually prove Robinson got hit. Robinson ain't testified during the trial, and the state didn't submit any evidence that he was hurt during the shooting. Big Mike is finally getting out after being locked up since 2014, but nobody knows what's gonna happen with him next. After he flipped, Vaughn took shots at Mike on the track What's Next and said, "When I go slide, ain't no missing. Boy, I bet I hit him. And lately y'all been acting different. Y'all been in y'all feelings. I think it's cause a nigga winning. Plus I fucked y'all bitches. But I ain't tell nobody that. I don't condone the snitching. A nigga told on me before, he got a longer sentence. I think they gave him 28. He rather talk than listen. Bitch was the only one that told. They killed the other witness." Vaughn also aired him out on Memo 600's Exposing Me remix and rapped, "Goofy got shot right up in his top. His brother told on me. Couldn't get a bond. I sat it out. They put that hold on me." One of the craziest things about Big Mike is that his brother Wooski was one of Vaughn's biggest ops. Wooski grew up on O Block like Big Mike, but then he started hanging out with GDs from the STL EBT set like FBG Duck and Tuka. At first he stayed out of the beef and was still living in O Block, but that all changed after he allegedly killed a BD named Reezy. Wooski was only around 12 years old at the time, but there was a huge fight between O Block and STL EBT that ended with Reezy getting shot and killed. Wooski moved to STL EBT's territory because it wasn't safe for him in O Block anymore, and that's when he became one of their top ops. Wooski allegedly killed Vaughn's homie Platoon, so Vaughn clapped back and killed his cousin Modell. They started going back and forth on social media about who was scared of who, but then both of them caught cases and had to chill out for a while. A few years later, the BD slid on Wooski's homie Dooski the Man and killed him. Then less than 24 hours later, a BD named Waldo was killed for dissing Dooski on social media. The war was getting crazier every day, but nobody expected what happened next. On the day before Dooski's funeral, Vaughn FaceTimed Wooski and said he had a surprise coming. The day they was going to bury Dooski, Ruger said he felt like something bad was gonna go down.
To be honest, I kind of felt like something, you know what I'm saying, funny was gonna happen. On some real shit.
It turns out he was right, and the BDs was camped outside the church ready to shoot. Wooski had been one of their biggest ops for years, and when he stepped outside to smoke a cigarette, the BDs allegedly started letting off shots. Wooski got hit in the head, but was able to pull through. The recovery wasn't easy though, and he even had to learn how to talk again because the bullet damaged his brain. Even though Wooski is his blood brother, the GDs will probably still want smoke with Big Mike if he hops back in the trenches. Hopefully he switches up how he moves and just leaves the streets behind though. He already lost almost a decade of his life in prison, and it would be a tragedy if he got caught up in another case or ended up getting shot like his brother.